Today, we are going to talk about if white papers and webinars still work. But first and foremost, Neil, can you explain what white papers are and webinars?
Sure. So a white paper is an industry piece that breaks down something very specific, like the state of venture capital in 2023, or the state of digital marketing, or where the SEO industry is going to lie in the next 5 years.
Cool. So I'll jump in here. So on the webinar side of things, it's kind of similar. You can do a state of marketing thing where you actually go over the white paper as well, but just in like a deck format. But a webinar could be something that's an hour. It could be 30 minutes. Sometimes it can even be 15 minutes or so, where you're just going over a topic. It's basically a presentation. And these have worked out really well, especially in the last maybe 10, 15 years or so when they're more novel. Basically, you would use a white paper or you would use a webinar, you would gate it, right? Meaning that you'd require an email sign up and the conversion rates would be high. But like anything in marketing, typically the conversion rates start to go down once people start to see the same things over and over. So banner blindness happens. Now, the question is, going into 2023, do white papers and webinars still matter? So I'll go first, and then Neil, we'll move it over to you. With any piece of content, if it's like freaking amazing, if it's a good piece of content and it stands out, it will work, right? So for example, I read like an investment letter from Elliott Partners. They're like an investment firm, and it's a 28-page thing. And when investors write, it's like super dense, right? Just like it's like when Howard Marks, he's a Oak Tree Capital is another investor, or when Warren Buffett writes something, or when Jeff Bezos writes something, like I'm going to read the whole thing. And so when it's a really good piece of content, I will actually sit there and I will read it. I might even pay for it. And the same thing for webinars too.
Yeah, we don't release white papers as much these days. We have a lot of clients that do, and we work with our clients at NP Digital, and like we're seeing good results from it, but we see better results from webinars. And we ourselves even do a webinar once a month, sometimes twice a month, but usually once a month. Our webinars last no longer than an hour. What we find is a webinar and a white paper, they both work really well the more specific they are. So for example, like if we do a webinar on where SEO is going in 2023, it's very rare that we're going to get, we may get tons of leads, but most of those leads will not close into any customers. But on the flip side, if we talk about how to scale up your Facebook ads for your e-commerce site, even with the iOS privacy changes. So if you get super specific, like platform and industry, like e-commerce and platform, we won't generate as many leads, but we'll generate way more customers. So the conversion from leads to customers goes really high. And when we look at the total revenue generated from very specific webinars that are related to a specific industry or specific tactic and industry, when you combine both, we tend to generate a lot more revenue. We have a lot less attendees, but it works really well for both webinars and white papers. You just got to get super specific.
There you go. Specific and good quality. And that's how you're going to win at this stuff. So please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe.